kiteekwa okubeera n'embalirira y'omwaka kyateekwa okuleka nga waliwo kye bayita state of emergency oba okuleka nga waliwo olutalo mu ggwanga n'ebintu ebirala ne mu mbeera eri nnumu muteekwa okuba n'embalirira y'eggwanga.
Naye wakati mu kusitula briefcase eyo ndoza tutandika okwekubiriza okutandika okutambulira ku bintu ebyo embalirira ezibadde zifuluma luli omwaka oguwedde bwe bujjukira mwaka gw'ebyensimbi oguwedde embalirira yayite naba nakufuluma nga supplementary zakoze eki zatandise dde okujja batwongereyo zino nga embalirira tenaba nako bali bagisomayo bati katuuti nga supplementary zo zatandise dda okufuluma era nzijukira bwe baamala ogisoma bwe bati n'omukulu yennyini n'atugamba naye tugenda kubitereeza katusuubire nti ku luno ke twapaaza ne tudda ku trillions 7
tewajja kujja
supplementary zonna oba oli awo bazibaze nga zinaakola ki
naye tumanyi supplementary we zisinga okuva
naye
zisinga kuvaawo
maze tereeza ekintu kino era kibeere on record
ekifaananyi ekyabaleese briefcase ey'embalirira
kaakati Kimugwa ayogedde ku supplementary ekituufu supplementary ffenna tubaye tuzeebuuza nga zivaawa naye juuzi omukulembeze w'eggwanga bwe yali ekkololo yakijjayo n'agamba nti waliwo abakungu mu parliament saako n'abakungu abali ku budget committee awo mu parliament abasinga okuba nga bongeramu ensimbi ezaabwe era ne bajja ne bakutuuza ne bagamba Kimbugwe gwakulira ekitongole ekyaba kya Union Events naye tubadde tulaba nti weetaagamu trillions nga 2 kaakati tudde okuba guno n'enkuba guno bwe tumaliriza era no ufe 20% yaffe noba ng'ogituwa
waliwo abuuzizza ekibuuzo nti ne bageza ne bamubbako briefcase ku ssaawa eno kiki ekiyinza okubaawo basebo ne bajja bembalirira abagiyina ewalala eno just briefcase
kino tukola mukolo naye tolowooza kibanga bwe bamala okulangirira abagole gwe n'ogamba nti bw'obabbako marriage certificate obufumbo oba obuyiiye
ate era waliyo n'alowooza nti omwo mwe muli trillion 7 trillion awuliriza oba tulaba embalirira eno nga naye mumase yakinyonyoddeko nti nga naawe ewuwo bwe munaakola omukolo nimugaya katukole budget ntulabe ennyingiza tugenda kuyingiza setemeka then n'ensaasaanya yaffe era bwe kiba kigaanyi nga twabala miliyoni 50 nga sente ezo ziremweddwa okuba nti tuzisika mu bantu kakati tujja kusalako tambulire ku miliyoni 50.
Njagala kugenda mu breakdown y'ebintu okulirating embalirira y'omwaka guno n'oguli naye kansooke njagala Brian asooka amalirize kiri ekyokunaanula ku kigere ntunga nti ffe Abannakenya kale bali mu 1016 naye naffe twagala kutuuka we bali oba Tanzania eri mwana mu mwenda yemanyi esoobe ffe tuli ku speed
kyekiri kye naadde nkugamba ekibuuzo kiwasoose okumbuuza nze nakikuzeemu ne nkugamba nti ensonga etuteeka ku 72 trillion erimu ensonga nnyingi ebbanga ddene tubadde tugezaako nnyo okwerangirira mu kwerangirira okutuuka mu middle income status naye nga tetunnabakola ki kutuukayo kati embeera yonna etusiiga akazigo ak'okututuusa mu nsi ensuubize tujja gikola at whatever cost kyekiri kye nakugambye
naye nga twatuse mu middle income omanyi gwosekalira nnyo Uganda mu kutuuka mu middle income
anti kyenkugambye nti gwe yadde ogamba twatuuse mwasooka ne mutugamba mwatuukadde emyaka 3 emabega ojjukira bulungi nga mwera ne bava ne bagamba nti temunnatuuka kakati era nakati mugamba mwakoze eki mwatuuse which is okay naye kyenjagala okukulaga nti biki ebyongera okukulaga nti otuuse twogere ku musolo gukuŋŋaanyizibwa wano bw'otunuulira tax to GDP ratio gye tulina mu Uganda eri wetwogera kati eri ku 13.9 approximately 14%. Bakulaga nti okutandika eggwanga lyo okulabwanga eggwanga eritandise okwetengerera tax to GDP ratio ekitone nnyo kale waakiri wano mu Africa kunukkiriza kale waakiri 17-18%. Tuli mu 13. Kajitegeeza nti as much as ffe tuvayo ne twerangirira nti tutuuse naye ebibalo byonna ebiriwo bitulaga oli ku 72 trillion. URA bwetuuka okukuŋŋaanyiza tekuŋŋaanya even 50%. Nzijukira omwaka oguwedde bwe twali wano twasaba nnyo nti singa URA tufuba nnyo etuuke bwakiri ku bitundu 6 ku 100 ng'etukuŋŋaanyiza omusolo singa tuli bulungiko naye tuli mu ggwanga nti bw'otunuulira omusolo engeri gye tugukuŋŋaanya kikyabulamu nnyo bw'otunuulira date gye tuyina otuuse mu kiseera nti olw'okuba oli extravagant kiri ky'obuuziza ku economies zirizoyagala tukomparingako nti okuŋŋaanyiza 72 trillion ye budget yo kikyogenda osinga osaasaanyako sente gwe Tanzania gwoli mu kwogerako mbw ayina sama 49 trillion gwe walabye ali mu middle income on top of being in middle income priorities ze wazirabyeko ajja kulaga nti ettundutundu erisinga obunene ku sente zagenda okusaasanya teziringa zo zakusula mabanja gwokola otya 72 trillion nga almost ebitundu kumpi 5 ku 100
osasula banja
toyina woosize sente kyokka nga n'emabanja g'oli mu kasolo eri amabanja agakyali ku akawunti gye wageewolera tegannaba genda kukola
Ministry of Agriculture yazizaayo 200 billion esente zabadde za value addition eyo chain eyo fertilizers kuyamba balimi nezizaayo
kyekyo nti osobola okuba ne budget
zakwewola
weewoze zikole obwetaavu weebuli tezikoze otulaze nti ate kati oyagala kuzizaayo kati ono omuntu eyakuwola zikole boddayo okumwewolako akugana naye luli nakuwola n'okuzikozesa nekukola ki kyokka nga obwetaavu bwali kakyo ndi mukulaga nti oyina 72 trillion ne bwe tutunuulira ensaasaanyayo where are your priorities ebitundu ebisinga obunene bigenze mu kuzaayo mabanja kyokka ate bw'omala okuzaayo amabanja essente eziddako ziri mu governance and security can you imagine nti percentage eddako awo obunene ng'ogyeko human capital kuba human capital lwakuba kale tukitunuulira mu ngeri nti misaala gy'abantu n'okulaakulanya abantu naye return on investment eya human capital bwe tukugamba okugicalculating eyinza okulema
era bo bannayuganda basiga ekifaananyi nti mu ngeri y'okuba nga ebintu tebakyabitegeera human capital development kwe kuba nga tosobola babuuza kozi wakola ki kozi wakola otya
naye bw'obanga
ne bakyalaba ssente zikomawo ku PDM emyoga tegikomyawo naye nga tegirina
amawanga gali goyogerako go kye gatusinga nti bwe gamala okukola embalirira yaago bw'otunuulira priorities bajja kulaga nti if you want to modernize agriculture nga bw'ogambye nti agriculture modernization agromechanization nabiki nga bw'okyogedde oluzungu lungi
industrialization kitegeeza okugattako omutindo okukozesa ebyuma okuteekamu ebigimusa
bw'omala okubuulira eggwanga nti backbone yo agriculture
twali tukikubaganya ne ekyali backbone
okiraba ekintu ekyo oyinza okuba ne backbone nenga kakati bw'omala okukola ekyo ekifaananyi kyotusigira twagala tukirabe mu budget nti bwe watuusa osaasaanya lwaki human capital n'omuteekamu sente nyingi kitegeeza nti sente ezisinga obungi ozimalira mu kwesasula naye gwe yeesasula ogasizza ki
Brian ajja kuvaayo akunnyonnyole nti obulungi bwe tulina okukola kusomesa baana kuteeka ddagala malwaliro kuteeka sente mu ssako emyoga PDM agambye nti human capital
ate butagala oyogere ku PDM kuba PDM naye bwe tunaamutuukako naye ojja kumulya naye kyenjagala okukulaga mase nti bw'otunuulira human capital wano priorities zaffe enfu tuli very extravagant parliament tugyononerako sente mmeka Parliament erimu abantu abatwonoonera obudde
yafunye 978 billion independent
kiba kitegeeza nti priorities zaffe tusetinga nfu bw'otunuulira wano tourism y'omu ku basinga otuleetera sente naye tourism taweza even half a trillion taweza na billioni 5 bamuwadde billioni 4 tourism atuwa sente nyingi kakati bw'ogenda mu bintu ebizza kiri kye nakugambye return on investment ogenda okulaba nga priorities zo osetinga nfu human capital wantu mwononerako sente nyingi nnyo tusasula ba civil servant sente nyingi nnyo naye mu kubasasula tugenda okwekanga nga at the end of the day return on investment eri ki enguudo zaali badde nnungi okuzikola naye bwe tuba tukola enguudo zino tubala ekya return on investment lwaki tukola enguudo eziyitako ebisolo ne tutakola nguudo ziri mu Central Business District ewasinga okuva sente ekyo ekintu it beats the psychology of a taxpayer nti tosobola kuŋŋaanya musolo mase n'ogujja kukwalisa n'ogenda n'okola oluguudo.
Enguudo ezikoleddwa teziyitako bisolo. Enguudo eziri mu kukolebwa n'ezikoleddwa zisala okudda mu nsi endala era zonna zimalayo bumazi za mwasanjala. Endala ze ziyambako eziyise waggulu tekijjawo.
Kugamba byetutwala bivaawa bitwala tugenda kubijjawa
biva mu Uganda
gye biva wali amakubo kyekyo ndi mukulaga nti gwe tokola nguudo zimwasanjala nga ebintu bino gye bigenda okuva si wakole bo bagenda bituusa batya ku mwasanjala kitegeeza gwe oyagala bo bakole naye ng'ewaabwe gye bakolera tebakulaakulana oli akugambe nti eyo tuli balimi bamwanyi ekasanda wano tulima emmwanyi okuva nga bw'otuuka ekasanda ne bakugamba emmwanyi ze bafulumya nga bw'otuuka tosobola na kubeerayo yadde okuzimba yakayumba lwaki kitegeeza nti ewava omusolo wano waawo priority omuntu onaddemu amaanyi agawa omusolo lwaki CBD yandibadde efaanana bweti wano wasinga okuva omusolo naye gwe ogukwata n'ogudaivatinga n'okolera abalala enguudo ekyokukola enguudo yes naye return on investment bw'okola oluguudo lw'e Kampala ku ssente z'ojja e Kampala ne bwe lufa mu myaka egi sente ezirukola
omanyi China bwe yali penetrating akatale ka Africa yawola abantu nebawa enguudo ez'obwereere nekola ebisaawe wano mu Uganda ekoze ebintu bingi nga kyegezaako okuteekawo kwe kulaga nti nyina kyemba wadde n'olwekyo bwe mba ndeesa akatale kange ebintu byange tosobola kungula
yabiteekawo no grant yabiteekawo no loans
waliwo byetuwadde waliwo China byetuwadde ne wabaawo n'ebyo byetuwadde mu loans era grants ezimu eziva China endala ne ziva mu mawanga amalala naye katukwate butereevu ku nsonga y'enguudo omanyi enguudo baazongeza kansile kuone yakola ku town council yakolako yo ebintu by'enguudo abimanyi
town council yawa
Wakiso sebo yakolera ku town council
yali mu town council
abantu ba town council bamanyi
we yabeerera embi we yabeerera ennungi genda
wadde we yabeerera embi
nyabo genda mma
sebo chimbugoto tutaginya show ebya transport byavudde 2023 bafuna trillion 4 babongedde trillion 5 ku mbeera y'enguudo nga bw'oziraba ku mbeera ya infrastructure nga standard gauge abalala bagimala ffe tuli wano in fact waliwo yaleeta wano ebyuma ebituula ku standard gauge nga tebituula ku 48 billion simanyi lwaki tebanaba mukwata nga bakutte bano ababye 11 billion kisaanidde abantu bano okwongerwa ssente ku mbeera ya infrastructure mu byentambula nga bwe tuli
bajeti eno nga tutandika nagyogeddeko neŋŋamba nti ekituufu nnungi mu bulungi bwayo eri mu 72 trillions naye singa tewabeerewo omukono ogw'ekyuma iron hand byonna tugenda kubanga twoza esaati nga bwenjambadde n'ogivulugavuluga mu ttaka lwaki nti ebitongole ebikola ku nguudo nga mwe muli wax mwe muli UNRA mwe muli ne bannaffe abayisa ssente waggulu awo ab'obukiiko nga bakyakwata ne badda mu nkubo abantu abalala bonna tukyayoza netuteeka mu ttaka lwaki ekituufu nze kyendowooza ti mu ggwanga lino Pulezidenti Museveni kati nga we yavuddeyo okuluma alume amege n'okumega lwaki bw'anaavaayo mu mbeera eyo bwetyo abakulu bano nga bwe batwaliddwa eruzira ne batavaayo mu simanyanga mbu oli alina sukaali ono alina pressure simanyanga yeetaaga kooti beyiro yeetaaga kooti simanyanga akola kutya n'avaayo nga tumaliriza n'avaayo naye ku mulundi guno ne basibwa ne bamala okusibwa n'abalala ne balabirako mase ezo sente zijja kukola nga tebazeemu na kuyisa supplementary ekizibu ekiriwo kiri muki oŋŋambye nti mu ebya bidding biki ebyo mbimanyi bulungi nnyo bagenda ne bagamba nti kakati twagala okukola oluguudo lwa kilometers 20 ne bayita bidding n'oyitamu naye mu kuyitamu ne bakuwa billions nga 2 zogenda okuba ng'okolera oluguudo olwo nga tonatandika kukola luguudo wulira chain eno ogenda okutandika okukola oluguudo nga gwe olina 1.5 billion nga million 5 zo zigiddwako n'oluguudo tunatandika zigenze waba Kimugwe zigenze waba Masiba wasinkana zigenze ewabani abalala ekyo ekinaba kikyabeerawo era ojja kuwulira ng'ezo billions trillions zebataddewo 5 zigenze nga bakomyewo mu supplementary ekizibu ekyaliwo olunawona wekinaalwanyisibwako ekyobuli bw'enguzi obulyake n'obukenuzi wano tujja kuba tutambula bulungi.
Mu ddakiika ntono nga tuwunzika tufune omugenyi atwegatteko wano mu Nabyanfuna. Angenda eri Brian atuwe biki byasuubira mu mbalirira y'omuhago gw'ebyensimbi 2024-2025.
Embalirira ekirungi ebisinga insights tumaze okuzikoonako naye nga embalirira yo kyoba omanya egenda kutunuulira nnyo butya bwe bagenda okwongera okuŋŋaanya akasente. Tewali wosuubira bintu bigenda kendeera. Ebintu ebisinga bigenda kuwongezebwako muki omusolo. Wakati mu kubyongezaako omusolo kitegeeza ki eri munnansi. Akabinze kemmanyi ku nkola eyaffe eya bulijjo wano nga tusoma budget nti tetufaayo nnyo kwani gwe tugenda kuzijjamu ffe kye tuba twagala kulaba nti tuzimuggyemu tuzimutaddeko kuba kakati sente zaayongezebwa ku mafuta ojjukira nga abantu bazeemulugunyaako naye ogenza okugamba nti ogenda kuwongera akasente ku mafuta ku lita y'amafuta nga otugambye ozudde amafuta mu ggwanga lyo bw'omala ozuula amafuta mu ggwanga lyo omuntu yalisuubidde nti amafuta gaalikendedde ogongeddeko omusolo otugambye UNOCO egenda kulekeraawo okujja amafuta ebweru egenda kuweereetera amafuta Uganda etandika okuyingiza amafuta ate bw'omala otugamba ekyo n'otugamba nti ate era amafuta ogenda kugongerako omusolo g'amazzi ekyo kyamaze okutegeerekeka bottled water ye bamwongeddeko omusolo
cement bayongeddeko 5
bamwongeddeko
then amafuta ne bongerako 10
naye kye njagala okulaga nti bwe tubanga tusettinga priorities kati olaba cement okumwongerako omusolo weebuuza nti ekigendererwa ki tuli mu ggwanga nga ku price ya cement aliko ebizimbe bikuba abantu njagala kuwa kyakulabirako olwedde abantu ne ku ssente eziri bwe bakozesa cement mutono ebizimbe ne bikuba abantu kakati okugongeza ssente ku cement ekigendererwa kyo kyabadde ki wabadde gwofa kunoonya ssente naye bw'obanga oyagala okukuza real estate anyway kati bo baleka kye batunuulidde nti real estate ekuze nnyo tugitaayize ki ekisinga okutambula ennyo mu real estate cement kakati awo nawo tutagetingewo kakati naye ekigendererwa mu kyo kyekiri kye baakola ensobi ey'okwongeza omusolo ku pampa nga balowooza nti bagenda kulwanyisa ebisiyaga tugenda okukizuula nga pampa bwe zaalinnye ebbeeyi omuli w'ebisiyaga agisobola omukadde mukyala abadde ajambala olw'obukadde bwe n'okuba nti takyasobola kweyamba ng'ate ye takyagisobola kakati kyekyo nti you set the priority wrongly kakati kyekimu ne wano nti sementi omwongeddeko naye ebizimbe ebadde bikuba abantu lwa sementi wa kiboggwe kati bw'onaayongerako kigenda tegeeza ki
mudakikemu Isaac
weewaawo nze njagala kukubiriza Bannayuganda nti olwedde bino byonna byetwogerako tekirina kye tuyinza kukyusa bino omukulu Matiya Kasaija agize tusomera busomezi wabula si kukubaganya birowoozo naye just twagale tukolage nti you have to tighten your belt obuse 7.2 busuubirwa okuba nti obusinga bwonna bugenda kuva mu ggwe sente ezisinga ezigenda okuva eweeru w'eggwanga ezo zenteni ennyo naye nga Kimbugwe wagambye tuongere okubanga bino tusibyakusaba tuongere okubanga tusiba
tuyagala abantu basabe obagobye kusaba
omanyi economics bino sibyakusaba because no one asaba tegena kukyuka ate era kyoba omanya masenga tumaliriza nti kati wantuli kubuse 7.2 naye tujja kubanga twakaisawo kota even neemu yokayoka
okusaba kuseetula ensozi
amina mama
papa no kyali kwebyo papa Vatican yalangiridde era kiri kumpi kuyisibwa nti tekyali mu misa takyayagala samoni esukka ddakiika 8 papa Vatican Roma agambye sikyayagala kulaba ayimirira katuuti
oba ye yabadde abalanga bo baagala samoni fe samoni tugenda kola yazituhawo tweyanziza nnyo tweyanze olunaku olwaleero atimu ogirabye gwona oyawulo bakawelette oba ki oba kabiriiti ogituuma erinnya naye tuli mu mbalira y'omwaka gw'ebyensimbi mwena 225 buse oba trillion ziri 7.2. Emikolo emikulu giri Kololo era ku ssaawa 8 tugenda kuba tukutuusaako butereevu ebigenda maaso e Kololo. Mukadde kano njagala tugendeko mukuumulako bwe tudda tugenda kudda ne munnabyanfuna mukugu atusigira ettooki. Bino bitegeeza ki eri eggwanga, eri abantu, bizinensi n'ebirala byonna. Katugende mukuumulako tovaawo.
that we are tackling signs and symptoms. Some Mara, I know what you have been pushing. Honorable Sam Mara.
It's called Paul for the record.
With their money, which has no tax. But these same people, they are striving to target one client. Honorable member, NRA. When you look into their 10-point program, there is what we call restoring economy. But the question is, if you look at 80% of our economy is being manned by the foreign banks. So to me, it's about the policy. You need to look at the policy. The high rate, the cost of business, of doing business, it is affecting the entire economy. So if we can discuss that, I've already presented something to the speaker. I think next time we need to come and see how we can organize our economy. Otherwise, business people are stressed.
Thank you.
Special edition balirira ya mwaha gwa byensimbi 2025 gwe tulaba munnabyanfuna tubali tugezaako mulaba nga ali mu kakiiko ka parliament agezaako kubuuza ab'ebyenfuna era mu bigambo byenkutte ndowooza nga bagamba economy eri stressed. Munnabyanfuna mukugu omukulu Magufuli Moses gwe naye mu studio agenda kuba atunnyonnyola
estimate. If we are borrowing little externally, much of it will come from within us. That's good.
Honorable, that makes it difficult for a business person who is trying to get a loan to business. It also makes loans very expensive for them since government is in the same market. The bank prefers giving government money than an individual there. Aren't you just crowding the economy and squeezing the little businesses that are surviving even out the more?
No, we are not crowding out the businessmen, because there is then money which is subsidized, which is there are facilities, agricultural facilities. There are many facilities which are given into these banks to serve the business community, and then you are giving money through human capital development. You're giving in money through recapitalization of banks. Then there should be a means to get that money out. Otherwise, our economy will collapse. On inflation, we'll be carrying sacks of money to buy bread.
Thank you very much, Honorable. I appreciate your time. You have heard from her on what is happening there. We have the speaker showing up here, and we'll be getting to them. You can see them there. That's the deputy speaker showing up. Right Honorable Thomas Taiwa showing up there. And also we see the Right Honorable Amon showing up now, and that means we are about to get started here. That's the arrival of the Right Honorable Speaker. And we also see quite a number of dignitaries also showing up here. But we'll be getting into some of those even as they show up. You see all the photo moments happening with her. She'll be taking a seat there next to the Minister of Finance, Honorable Kasaija. And then we'll be able to see how we get started. We need the president here to get started with this function and parliament to kick off and declarations that happen in this place here. So we now have the speaker, so that means we are not far from where we're supposed to be starting with the reading of the speeches. This first speech will come from the Minister of Finance, Honorable Matia Kasaija, and when he's done, we'll be able to invite the president, who will give us what the year is going to look like in 2024, 2025 there. And we're grateful that she has joined. A lot of photo moments there. But the biggest concern is debt in this budget, 34 trillion, to be able to have that here. I am also joined by Honorable Margaret Muhanga. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Are you well?
I am good.
Your anticipation for this 72 trillion budget, your thoughts about it, especially in your docket of health there?
Yeah, in my docket of health, we really expect to give an ambulance to each and every constituency in Uganda. We've so far given out 160 constituencies, but remember there are about 250 something constituencies. So we want to have at least every constituency with a running ambulance, a brand new ambulance, well equipped with everything so that we can be able to evacuate our patients from place to another. The other thing I pray for is that they increase the funding for primary health care, because as a health sector, we are actually grappling with 75% of our disease burden is non-communicable or preventable. So we want to move to prevent diseases as opposed to treating them. It is much cheaper, 1,000 times cheaper, to treat non-communicable diseases and these diseases of lifestyle. They are easier to prevent than to treat. The moment people get those complications, cardiovascular diseases, heart disease, cancer, it's very difficult and very expensive to treat them. But there are remedies for you not to get them. You may not be diabetic if you are a very active person, you exercise a lot. If you check your partner before you get married for sickle cell disease, you will never have a career, a sickler. So all these things need to be checked before people get married, but none of us does that.
When you look at the portion that has been given to the Ministry of Health, is this enough for all Ugandans to access health?
They are going to unveil the budget. How did you know what has been given to who or what?
The breakdown,
Yet.
the breakdown has been given to us, Honorable, but what to anticipate?
Indicative figures.
What would
indicative figures, and they keep changing.
What would you be anticipating for every Ugandan to be able to access medical health and to have healthy Ugandans that are productive?
Insurance rollout for everybody will be the only solution to people spending too much money on treatment. Health insurance, where a person is just putting 1,500 really, 15,000 shillings. 15,000 is very little money, really. Everybody can afford that per year to have free treatment.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Let me leave you to go and get refreshed, and then we'll be getting back to some of the conversations here. So that is Honorable Margaret Muhanga, the Minister in charge of primary health, and we have been discussing what has been allocated to the health sector. She hopes that we can be able to get insurance for everyone in the country at 15,000 shillings. That is her dream and hope there, but can it be realized in there? Because human capital, which is at about 9.1 trillion shillings, involves health, involves education, and money trickles down in such a program. You know that 3 years ago we left sectoral budgeting into program budgeting, which means human capital covers things like education, covers things like health, and ensures that all those things happen. And governance and security includes State House, includes the UPDF, prisons, and police. And they get the second biggest share of the lion's share there. That's the breakdown of what it looks like. But also when we go further, especially in debt, which debt we will be paying 34 trillion shillings, and we'll be 8.9 trillion shillings domestically and about externally. What does that mean for our debt, which is already soaring in the 93 trillion shillings, about 49, closing into 50% of GDP? What does that mean for all of us as Ugandans? How much do you have to fork out? Because it shows that for every 100 shillings, 30 shillings is paid to taxes. Rollover, which is about maybe 14.4 trillion shillings. And when we go further to look at what the breakdown of some of this money looks like, it's one of the concerns that we have. You're paying, either if you're working, you're paying payee, and you're going to pay payee and more taxes in there, which come to about 45%. You have VAT because it is trickling down from the manufacturer to the wholesaler to the retailer to you, the end consumer, which is about 18%. You pay about between 65 and 67%, leaving you with about 43 or 33% of your money as disposable or your purchase power there. What can you do with 33? Because the income is not increasing, the prices of goods are increasing. But also when you look at what we get from our markets, either tomatoes or bananas, the prices for food stuff has gone up, and lastly that we checked, it was about 23% there. So that's the budget reading we're going to be having here at Kololo, and we'll be giving you updates even as the guests come in. But from us here at Kololo, we're really grateful. My name is Timothy Nyangweso, and we hand you back to the studio. It's like we've been together for the last 12 hours.
It's been a roller coaster. And we are here. We left late last night, UBC behind the headlines, and now we are here in Kololo.
So, Honorable, I know I've asked you so many questions,
yes,
but something that bothered me with someone I saw,
yes,
the concern was the tax burden on a Ugandan.
Yes.
It is a concern because inflation has happened on food.
Yes.
They have to pay,
yes,
and yet their income is not increasing. Yes. What should a Ugandan do, especially with this 72 trillion budget?
The Uganda Revenue Authority is expected to collect over 31 trillion shillings. And the only tax which has been increased is the taxes on fuel. 100 shillings on a litre of petrol and 100 shillings on a litre of diesel. The rest of other taxes remain the same. And the only unfortunate thing is that our tax base is very narrow. Last night, the Commissioner General of URA says we only have about, how many? 4 million taxpayers, yes, in their database. And majority of which are employees who actually have been bearing the burden of taxes in Uganda. So it's a big challenge for us. What government needs to do is to widen the tax base. Let more Ugandans come into the tax bracket and start paying taxes. And that is a hard one because you need to introduce things like people should start paying taxes on cattle. Yes. I had proposed it in the past. The wealthy people who have taken their money into cattle don't want to pay taxes. For us who have decided to put factories, we are paying. So if I put the same amount of money on the farm, rearing pigs, rearing sheep, rearing cattle, I would pay zero tax. So I think we need to be more realistic and we accept to pay taxes. The second one is the one on gold, on minerals. Yes. So there are areas, pocket of opportunities where we can make sure that we bring those areas into the tax bracket. Then I think we would be able to shoulder the challenge of tax burden on a very narrow base of the country.
Honorable, you're both an economist but a former banker.
Yes.
Debt. Is our debt sustainable? When we look at our debt burden now and also what we're going to bring on in this financial year, 8.9 trillion shillings domestically, 1.3, yes, external financing, budget support there dropping from, yes, donor. Is our debt sustainable?
The debt won't be sustainable if we continue increasing our budget ceiling and continue borrowing without broadening the tax base, without bringing in the oil revenue. I can predict as night follows the day, it will come crumbling down. Because what we have done now is we are burdening Bank of Uganda. The moment our domestic refinancing matures, we will not have money in the treasury. So Bank of Uganda will literally print money and pay. So we have created a hole with the Bank of Uganda. Creating that hole means
Bank of Uganda will have challenges in managing monetary policy and meeting their monetary policy targets of, say, inflation at 5%. So the moment you continue to print money and throw it in the public there, inflation is going to pick up. So it's a big challenge that our debts are increasing, our domestic revenue resources are increasing at a much lower pace than the way the debt is growing. So without quick interventions, like oil money coming through, like broadening a tax base to increase our domestic revenue, we are in big problem.
Honorable, my last question to you is, on the 20th, the president is going to meet the traders here.
Yes.
What advice would you give him, especially that the private sector is shrinking day by day?
I would advise the president that he should keep the increase. Increase, we must maintain it. It's not a tax. It's a system that causes transparency, and make sure that those who have been hiding the tax, they pay. Secondly, we need to make sure that the interest and penalties that were put on the tax on the private sector are removed completely, so that we only pay the outstanding tax. Then the last one is, can we give them a moratorium? Let's give them the time for which to pay these taxes in a more structured way. Yes, that would be my advice.
Thank you very much, Honorable. I appreciate you. See you when we meet again behind the headlines. You have heard from Honorable Mara, especially the caution on what Ugandans should be doing. I want to be joined here by Honorable Ojara Mapenduzi and the Member of Parliament for People of Laibi Bandege there. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
The signature bow tie, as usual, looking elegant.
Thank you very much, sir.
It's been a minute, but when we look at the budget, you have been in the local, down in Gulu. How are the people responding to this budget in Laibi and also in Gulu?
Well, there is anxiety generally because, as you know, this running financial year, which ends this month in June, the budget projection was 52 trillion. And I'm sure what has been realized is probably less than that. Maybe we will get the figures. But my own estimation is that probably would be about 48 trillion or something like that. Meaning, we will not be able to realize what we had projected. Now, looking at the coming financial year, 2024-25, Parliament approved a budget of 72 trillion. Now, you are moving from 52 trillion to 72. So there is anxiety. Ugandans want to hear how this is going to be achieved. But also there is the question of, debt burden. There is so much that the country has to pay in terms of what we have borrowed. Now, when you look at the 72 trillion, about 31 trillion is supposed to go towards servicing the debt. But again, we expected to borrow about 32 trillion. And so when you look at how much we are expected to borrow, removed from the 72 trillion, there is a lot of work in terms of generating the revenue required. So many people are expecting to listen and get the assurance of the president on one, how we are going to continue stabilizing the economy, but also two, how we are going to make sure we manage the debt, manage our borrowing, so we don't continue that trend. But also the other thing is that the taxpayers are a little anxious because, the debate that we have right now. So generally there is anxiety. And so how are we going to make sure the 72 trillion is actually realized? That's something we would want to attentively listen to.
I have been to Gulu, where you were a chairman for a while there. When I look at the infrastructure there, an impeccable job that you did with revolutionizing infrastructure, but also the business is booming because South Sudan is just there. The money put in for infrastructure, is it value for money? Will it be able to get the services closer to the people? What does that mean for infrastructure if you compare it to Gulu there?
Well, there is definitely value for money, and I commend the people who are down there working, in Gulu and elsewhere. Just like I work with the team in Gulu, there is a lot of effort being made, but I think there is need to do much more. There is need to do much more. I think government has given a lot of attention, has really prioritized infrastructural development, and that is good, that is commendable, because that then has direct impact on the taxpayers. But there is need to do much more. There is need to try to trim down some of these wasteful expenditures, manage corruption, and make sure we put more energy on the things that impact directly on the citizens. Yes.
Will the Ugandan out there in Laibi, Bandege, will they be able to feel this budget in their pockets the way they feel the taxes come through to their pockets?
Well, there are definitely different ways of feeling the impact of this budget. One, you are aware that currently government is giving the PDM, which goes to almost $1 trillion, over $1 trillion. Now, this is money that goes to the parishes, goes to the wards, and these are monies that goes to the pockets of the citizens directly, the 1 million, per beneficiary. So that's one way, and that's commendable. The other thing is that there are funds that are disbursed to local governments, whether it's for putting water, whether it's for road, whether it's for health services, whether it's for school. The citizens get the impact that way. There are also roads that are being constructed. So there are many activities that government is implementing, and definitely that is how the citizens benefit. But we can still do much more. We can do better than what is being done. Yeah.
Honorable Mapenduzi, thank you very much. I always appreciate your time. So you have had even his experience all the way from Gulu, and I am now joined by another member of parliament. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Greetings from Busia municipality. I am Macho Joffrey.
Ndio. So let's get to Busia. When we look at this budget, and I know the business that happens at the border there, I know how the border has really struggled in some of these areas of export. Will the people of your municipality be able to feel 72 trillion shillings impact their lives?
Sure. First of all, I want to tell my people that I think we are beneficiaries of this budget, because we are going to benefit from the road network in the Busia municipality. In this budget, we have almost 10 kilometers that has been spotted for us through the ministry. Then, in addition to that, I see a very big component of small and medium enterprises, and which benefits the cross-border traders who are doing small-scale businesses. And at the same time, I see some money concerning value addition, because we have been selling raw crops in Kenya. For this money of value addition, our people are going to make finished products to sell in Kenya. And at the same time, I also appreciate that I see a lot of money put in UDB, which will help our people into big infrastructure to tap the tourism of our people from Kenya. So I believe that this budget is going to benefit our people, and majorly in the area even of post-harvest handling. Because when you go the other side of Kenya, they put up cereals in Busia, Kenya, in Kakamega, in Funyula, and even in Kitale. And I believe that if that is done to this side of Uganda, so that we have silos, we have silos where people can keep the produce, store it for a certain time, and then sell after the bump harvest. It will help our people a lot, since we have the biggest produce market in within the East African region.
And when you look at the produce you're talking about, Honorable, especially looking at December, where some of your people were crossing to Kenya, goods were cheaper there than they were in Uganda. Is this a concern for you, since you're going to be money from the domestic market, and the businesses, the private sector, is going to be crowded out of this market?
Sure, you have brought a very good, important issue, the domestic market and the borrowing of the money, which is a very big challenge to our business communities on the border now, that Kenyan traders borrow money at low exchange rate, and the Ugandans are borrowing at a very high exchange rate. And that's why we have requested the government of Uganda that in this financial year, they should reduce or even stop on domestic borrowing, so that Ugandans are left to do domestic borrowing. That will help a lot to reduce on the interest rate. And the president gave a directive to the Minister of Finance, Honorable Kasaija, to work as quick as possible to make sure that the interest rates on loans reduces. But it is taking long. We believe that time is now, so that Ugandans who are on the border can also enjoy to have money that is with a very little interest, like our Kenyan counterparts. This will help a lot, because according to what we see, the people who got money for PDM are flourishing in business, are doing very good business. And I want to appreciate Minister Kasolo that yesterday he was in Busia meeting all the beneficiaries, all the groups. You will see people displaying vehicles, you will see people displaying their company work, and material and value addition, and this is the way that we want Uganda to do. The only request that I have is that in this money that was given, Busia as a district, as a border, we need affirmative action because we are not farmers, we are business communities. We should be given more money than to do business than be given more seeds to plant because we don't have enough land to plant, but we have enough market for the produce and the products in Kenya. Therefore, an affirmative action should be given to borders around so that we promote the integration of business within East Africa. And also, I want to tell my people that in this budget, I see Ministry of East African Affairs has been given enough money for sensitization concerning the East African Protocol. We therefore need the Minister of East African Affairs, Mama Rebecca Kadaga, to make sure that the people in Uganda, and majorly the people on borders, are sensitized about the protocols of East Africa and to be told the importance of the East African cooperation. Because we have a bigger market, we are the same people, and when we use this opportunity, we have a lot to do as brothers and sisters within the East African region. And on this matter, I request the government of Uganda to give trade agreements made with Kenya to the people of Busia so that we can make use of the trade agreements. We want to know what are the products that Uganda signed with Kenya to be sold in and out. This will help our people to do business on the border a lot.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. Asante. So you have heard Honorable there talking about especially what should be done for the border. It is a very interesting point of view to be able to look at what is happening there. That the border points should be given more money, not for produce or growing because they do not have farmland, but to be able to deal with trade in Malaba, in Busia there. So those are some of the important points that they would like to be able to see. But we're expecting the president to be able to come around and have this discussion and even more. Okay, so that was the Honorable Minister from Busia Municipality, and very patent points there, especially on domestic borrowing and even going further on the borders and what needs to be done. We are eagerly anticipating for His Excellency the President to be able to come here so that we can kick-start this reading of the budget there. Good afternoon, sir.
It's good to have you. Yes, I'm also very good and very glad to be here for this day.
Your anticipation for...
My name is Acrobat Chiza Moses, Member of Parliament for Bugendera.
So, Honorable, when you see this budget for your people, does it speak to them?
Yeah, partially. Partially it speaks for them. And we also have issues. Of course, the budget cannot be holistically good. Like in my area, there are some areas which have been handled, which I'm happy for. Like the issue of security has been well handled. You are aware that Bundibujo is at the border with DR Congo. And when the security is well budgeted for, our peace and stability is always catered for. Like, I am happy that the salaries for the security personnel has been enhanced at least by around 100%, which is okay for everyone. And in the budget, I've also seen some areas of physical infrastructure having been catered for. That implies that areas which are passable, areas which have poor roads are going to be worked upon, and areas which have potholes, I think the potholes will be fixed. But as Bundibujo, like I said, that the budget cannot favor everyone. We have a section of people who are not happy. Like,
why are they not happy?
We are not happy because I've read the budget even during the passing of the budget at Parliament. I didn't get happy when I saw that our cocoa factory, Bundibujo, is known for growing cocoa, and it is leading the whole country for producing cocoa. But we have been yearning for a cocoa factory, even when His Excellency the President pledged that we should have a factory for value addition.
Thank you. Thank you.
But we have not seen it being put in the budget.
Thank you, Honorable. Honorable, thank you very much. Let's get back because we have some guests coming through. We have some dignitaries and diplomats coming through, and we really appreciate that they're coming through. These are development partners right on my left-hand side that are coming through, but also some more dignitaries joining us here, and we'll be able to discuss this. You've heard what is coming from Bundibujo. We're trying to cover every corner. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good, good.
Your names, please.
Opoloti Siagi, Patrick. Yes. MP Kachumbala County, Bukedia District.
Yes. Honorable, your people in Bukedia, when you represented them and appropriated this budget, does it represent them?
Seriously, it does.
Which parts represent them?
Health, education, works, road works, and others.
Honorable Polot, when you look at our debt in this country, doesn't it concern you especially because they have to dig deeper into Ugandans' pockets to pay it?
Of course, you get debt because you need it. And what matters is, what do you do with it? Do you invest it to earn you, or you misuse it by going to hold a family? You go and pick money in debt to do business. That's okay, and business is well controlled, and you make money and you pay back. But if you used it for a party, for a wedding, then you get into trouble. So what we expect is money for debt should be well utilized and well invested into projects that will make returns, and with the projects with the highest rate of return. That is all.
Thank you very much, Honorable. We appreciate you. So we've heard from all the corners of the country so far. Bundibujo has been covered, Busia has been covered. We're coming from Bukedia there, listening to the people of Bukedia and what their concerns are. He says the budget covers his people and they're very satisfied with where the budget is going. Is that the same way you feel as an ordinary Ugandan, especially when you look at this budget, the taxes that have been slapped on fuel, especially that all goods and services move on fuel, either it's petrol or diesel. And you also have to see that petrol has been increased by 100 shillings, that makes it 1,400. Honorable, it's good to have you. How are you?
I'm good, how are you too?
Honorable, a good afternoon to you. You look very smart. Please tell us your names and the people you represent.
My name is Gerard Nangoli. I represent the people of Elogo North in Bulambuli district.
So in Bulambuli, and you look at this budget that you apportioned, that you represented them, does it serve their needs?
The budget is very good. It's going to serve and it's going to address the needs of the Wananchi, the local population down there, because one of them is the infrastructure, upgrading LSA centers, improving educational facilities. So it's going to address the Wananchi so that they are able to move and take their goods to the market.
And when you look at PDM, how has PDM performed in your area?
PDM, of course, it is to do with mindset change. It has helped people, but you know, normally, when the program is new, it is a process. People with time will cope up with it. It has challenges, its own challenges, but I want to assure it has helped because there are people who have never held $1 million, but they are now able to get 1 million and buy a cow. So it is helping people, but as a matter of fact, it is a gradual process. It will be a process for them to adjust accordingly. But since it is a program that is longer term, with the time it will improve and people will change.
How has the performance been of PDM in your constituency? And also when you look at Youth Livelihood Fund, Bonaba Gagawale, what is different from them and PDM?
You see, when you are working with the government, we are like children. When you're a father in the home, even if your kid makes a mistake or a problem, it doesn't mean that you give up. Of course, Youth Livelihood came with its own challenges, Bonaba Gagawale with its own challenges. PDM has also come with its own challenges, but we can't say that we shall not help our people because they failed. No, that's not the case. As government, we must know how to build the babies, how to make them grow.
Thank you, Honorable. Very much. So you have heard from the East there, the Elgon, and it tells you PDM has its challenges, but also the people, and some of them have benefited from that. But the biggest question is, as we come closer to 2027, what happens? I have been longly anticipating to see you, Honorable Ogwang. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
The biggest question is your prayers have been answered. Nambole has had 2 games in it. Hoima Stadium contract signed. You seem like you're the biggest minister that is achieving right now. Congratulations.
No, I'm not the biggest minister. I want to thank His Excellency the President and the First Lady. The President is the one guiding us on how to proceed. The First Lady, who is my boss, is the one directly following up with me on how we should complete on some of those projects. And of course, the government is putting in a lot of money under the directive of the president. So, as far as AFCON 2027 is concerned, I want to say we are on course in fulfilling our obligations in line with the government commitment which we gave to the Confederation of African Football. Mine is to call upon Ugandans to believe in the leadership of His Excellency the President and my senior minister, who is the Minister of Education and Sports, in terms of guiding on how AFCON 2027 is going to be organized together, Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. I'm happy that Nambole, finally, it was also a demand from most of the Ugandans that they wanted us to be back home. Fortunately, I thank the Senior Minister of Education and Sports, the First Lady, who came and witnessed as our chief guest the match between Uganda and Algeria. Of course, we were disappointed that we lost the game, but nevertheless, that's football, and that's how sports is.
Honorable, don't feel very bad. Botswana, very good performance. Algeria, very good performance. 1 goal scored. But how do we benefit, minus the stadiums that we're getting? How does Uganda benefit in tourism, the other sectors? How do they benefit from AFCON come 2027?
There's a lot of benefits which are coming to the country come 2027. No, it's not only 2027. Already as I speak, we have started to come. The officials from CAF already, they keep on coming in the country, and they are looking at other areas. For instance, let me talk about hotels. They are already beginning to look at the specific hotels the CAF people will be staying in. But also, they are going to be here almost every 2-3 months to continue guiding us on how we must organize that elite tournament of AFCON 2027. Of course, when you talk about tourism, we will be receiving a big number of tourists and guests, both fans who are coming to watch the game here, and that brings in money into the economy. And even before that, even our airline, let's talk about Uganda Airlines, will be bringing most of our people connecting from different directions or destinations which our airline goes through. So that also brings in more money into the country. First, then the other one is the infrastructure. This AFCON is going to help us develop additional sports infrastructure, which will help us to host other international competition, because as government, our senior minister guided us that we must have multi-sport in these respective stadiums which we are going to build. So I want to say this. For instance, Nambole, if the running track is completed, the work started today, we will be able, already African Athletics Federation wants to give us African championship, youth championship here in Nambole. It's about us finishing up the facility. We'll invite them to inspect. Once it is ready and found fit, we will. Rugby, talk about African Cup of Nations. We're already going to host it in July, August, here in Nambole. So this is what the sports subsector can be able to contribute to the national coffers. And by the way, if you take a case study of Nambole, we as government got money through taxes, direct. Talk about other amenities specifically, talk about other drinks, talk about soft drinks. There are taxes which are embedded in that. That money already was collected by government. Number 3, the entertainment itself also. So the young people, and I'm happy that the government and President and my able minister, we are doing what we can to tap into the sports tourism. And I can bet you we are going to do more and more as we move on.
My last question to you, Honorable. Shall we be able to see the next JJ Okocha, the next George Weah from the Uganda Cranes, from the teams that are here in the league? Is that a possibility, especially with 2027?
The team is under transition, that I want to say is confident. Number 2, we have young people who have got opportunities now to go and play football in different parts of Europe. That one I'm aware. And I've also quite a big number of Ugandans who are in diaspora who are already calling on me to move with the Federation of Football Session. They want to showcase the talent of their children outside there, and that will be able to get us a good team. The Federation, I have guided them, they must begin to prepare a team for AFCON 2027 now. With the facilities coming in, my view is we will be able to do even better than the names you've given. I promise you on that.
Thank you very much, Honorable, and thank you for and getting all that. So you have heard what Honorable Obua has done there, especially when we look at, when he has talked about AFCON, Hoima Stadium will be coming up there. We also see Nambole, and he talks about the funding. I'm also joined by another Honorable. You're very welcome. Good afternoon, Madam.
Thank you.
How are you and your name and the people you represent?
Nyachikongo Rosemary, woman member of parliament, Shema district.
Ah, Abashema.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of agriculture on that road. Shema, Bushenyi, all the way as you go there. Does this budget speak to value addition of the matoke on that road?
Yeah, this budget actually speaks to it, because when you look into the budget, we have this PPP project that has been in Bushenyi, which is going to add value to our matoke. This year they put in some money which they want, and they think that it is going to transform the entire region in terms of value addition of the matoke. You know, the entire of Bushenyi and Greater Ankole generally, we are a banana growing area. So putting some money budget to add value, it is going to help our people, first of all, to raise the price for matoke in the area. But also, we've been also lobbying for increment, especially on issues regarding to coffee value. You know, we are also coffee growing area, and people want to grow a lot of coffee, because now when you look at the kilo of coffee in the area, people are happy about it. So we want to encourage our people, but also they cannot do it without the hand of government in terms of quality, producing quality coffee, in terms of handling, in terms of, you know, production, and then we get into value addition. So all this, look at the budget, it is a little bit balancing, especially in terms of coffee and also our matoke. But also, we've seen a lot of emphasis is put on the road network, because if you produce without better quality roads, how are you going to transport all those things that we are talking about? How are traders going to get down to Shema in those rural areas of ours without quality roads? So for me, when the government says they are going to improve the road network, I think we should celebrate it and embrace it. But also, you know, a lot of money is going into PDM.
Before we get there, Honorable,
yes,
you have spoken about road network in infrastructure. You've also spoken about value addition, but it has been hot. That whole corridor has seen climate change affect it. Water is the biggest need for bananas, for coffee. What are you doing? Does this budget speak to climate change mitigation?
Yeah, Minister of Agriculture brought in the issue of climate smart agriculture, where we believe that they are going to add water for production. But also in the Ministry of Water itself, they have that program of water for production. So for us, we believe that if this budget is implemented very well and is done according to the programs that they've put in place, we are going to overcome this process of, you know, producing only during the rainy season. In Uganda, we are blessed. We have water that runs throughout. The rivers are there. We can save even this running water that goes away and dries up. Why don't we utilize that using the money that we've put in the budget, especially production, such that we don't cry about drying up of crops, such that we continue producing throughout the year.
Thank you very much, Honorable. We really appreciate your time. Kanda bantu ba Bushenyi, send them agri. Shema.
Shema was carved out of Bushenyi. Yes. Now, so people should not keep on saying we are from Bushenyi. Shema is an independent district and one of the districts that grows a lot of coffee and bananas.
Abantu ba Shema, batulamtsize. So you have heard from Shema there. The biggest need there is water, especially for their bananas and their coffee. Value addition, especially that now they have PBIT there. They're wondering if a factory can be gotten in that area, especially to boost the economy of each district. But also, even as we turn around to be able to see what is happening inside here, you'll be able to meet different people, especially that we're getting filled with the number of people that are with us. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you.
It's good to have you.
Thanks so much.
Honorable, your name and the people you represent.
I'm called Modoi Isaac. I'm a member of parliament representing the people of Luseshe. Luseshe is in Bududa, in Mbale.
Yes.
Yes.
Honorable, does this budget speak to the people of Bududa?
No, I think so, because we are looking at now value addition. We are looking at infrastructure. We're also looking at the issues of improving of the health and so on. So to us, I think this budget is very critical. The issue is to make sure that whatever we budget for goes to change the lives and the welfare of our people. So we are anxious because the issue is, the figures are there, but the question is the implementation. So that money can trickle down. For information, the issue of parish development model.
Before we get there, Honorable, also the biggest problems have been landslides.
Yes.
Weather.
Yes.
Your people have been moved to Chiriandongo.
Some have been moved.
Yes, and the mountain slopes are becoming dangerous for them to live in, yet their livelihood is there. Yes. Does this budget respond to such challenges?
It does. For example, in the Prime Minister's office now we have put there some funds. And our question that the funds are there, But the question is to implement. The implementation should be the question now. I think since we are involved this time round, I can assure people of Lutseshe that we have gone through the details of the budget, and I believe is implemented later, our people will be settled. So
and when you look at agriculture, market access, how does Bududa, for all its products and produce that it has there, market access is one of the biggest challenges. How do you access a market from there?
No, the problem of Bududa, we are food basket of this country. The challenge has been purely three things. One, the infrastructure. The road network is so bad. And since you have mentioned the landslide has affected production of our people, marketing is one of them, accessing even the medical services. The second question is the finishing the product. We grow coffee, but we literally sell coffee in its raw form. So we feel that if we can embrace the processing of the coffee into the final product, why not? We shall reap more. And that's what we are now focusing on. I'm happy in this budget, the processing part of it has been taken care of.
Honorable, my last question to you. Your young people are leaving, especially at the end of the year, are leaving to move to Tanzania because there are opportunities there. Aren't you losing labor, especially for people moving across the border?
Ordinarily, moving to serve, to give labor elsewhere is not a bad deal. But I think we must grapple now with the issue of employment. We should improve sectors. Agriculture is a huge sector, by the way. If we can plan well the sector of agriculture to absorb, and I'm happy the president has put what you call skilling hubs. So this will help most of our people. But to me, I believe even the labor export, if it's well organized, why not? I think it's a good idea.
Honorable, the people out there are really concerned with the taxes. They are wondering and they're anxious. The people in Bududa are wondering, did you represent them well? What confidence would you give them in this budget?
In this budget, what I can tell my people of Bududa is one. I think we need to address the big disease of this country is the drainage in form of leakages, misuse of funds. I think that's one. Two, if we give people services, good roads, we have Bududa Circular Road, Bududa Buchigai Road, we have been crying about that road. So if people see the services, I think payment of taxes will be easier to be done. Because the question right now is that if they see good health services, education services, good roads, I believe payment of taxes will not be a big deal. But the question you pay, and then the question is, where is the money going? So now I think that we have to go back and address the issue of service delivery. The service delivery, we as leaders must converge and see how best our people can get services, and they pay taxes, willing that's a form of accountability.
Thank you very much, Honorable. I appreciate you. So you have heard from the area of Bududa there, and they're also telling you landslides, coffee, and most, if you listen to the Arabica coffee, especially the sweetest part of the coffee, it comes from the Elgon part there. And he has said, you know what, we need value addition. We're selling coffee in its raw form. How can we get a factory there? How can we improve the livelihoods there? But also he has said a little bit more money has been added to the ministry or the Prime Minister's office to be able to increase on the disaster preparedness there, and what more can be done to get buy-in from these people to do something about their livelihoods as they go on there. So that's where we are here in Kololo, and we're still waiting for the president to be able to start off this function, to be able to read and declare this budget of 72 trillion. As I have told you earlier, the biggest portion of this budget is going to debt, which is about 34 trillion, and only 32 trillion is going to be collected by URA. And when you look further, our capitalization of Bank of Uganda is 7.8 trillion, which is clearing the debt that Bank of Uganda has done. But the greatest concern is the reserves that we have in Bank of Uganda, which can only cover us for 3 months, 3.5 months there. And the biggest question is what can happen to us as a country, especially that we have high imports going forward, high imports and less exports in raw form. We look at that. You can also see in the background the tent here is getting filled up by the people to be able to start off this function. So in the background you can hear refreshment, different directions being given to the people here. But also when we go further to look at human capital and look at the numbers that have sat UPE or UCE, capitalize the capitalization grant that is supposed to be 20,000 for each student. Does that make value sense there? 8.8 million young people in primary school what does that mean for us going forward? And that's very important to look at education, to look at health. Can we all access health and this going forward? But from us to you in Kololo, we hand you back to the band, and then we'll be getting back to you to give you an update when the president arrives here.
Parliament shall convene and will start with the anthems, the Uganda anthem, followed by the East African anthem, parliamentary prayers, the proclamation by the Right Honourable Speaker that declares these grounds as the precincts of Parliament for today, a communication from the Chair, the presentation of the budget speech, the speech that we are all looking forward to hearing, the speech that has gathered us here today, and this will be a speech by His Excellency the President of Uganda with a delegated responsibility to the Minister for Finance. Thereafter, we shall have remarks by His Excellency the President, and will adjourn starting with anthems in reverse order, and thereafter we shall also have departures in reverse order. So I kindly ask that you take up your seats. Please take up your seats, and we await the arrival of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda. I'm also happy to inform you that we have got several cultural leaders who are here, including the Iseba Ruli, the King of the Buruli Kingdom, and a high-power team from there. We also have, amongst others, the Director General of the Security Organization, Ambassador Joseph Ochwet. You'll forgive me if I don't mention each and every one of the guests that are here, but just to recognize that all the categories are very well represented here, and we are honored and really happy to have you in our midst today. Ugandans are looking forward or waiting for the presentation of the budget, and earlier we witnessed with our own eyes the arrival of the Minister for Finance carrying the famed briefcase. The Minister has already taken his seat in the dais and is now waiting for the procession of the Speaker that will be led by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda. So as we await the arrival of His Excellency, the President, we kindly ask that you take up your seats. We'll ask all our guests in the reception tents to please make your way back to the main tents. Thank you very much. Once again, to the police and the prisons band. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Police Prisons Band. To all our distinguished guests, I'm sure many of you will have noted the movements that are currently taking place. The team, the procession is starting to form now. We have the Right Honorable Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, the Clerk to Parliament, and service chiefs that are now lining up at the edge of the red carpet in preparation of the arrival of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda. There is the team that is waiting to receive His Excellency, the President, is a very good indication that any minute now we shall be joined by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, who shall be coming to complete his constitutional duty in presenting a budget speech to Parliament. At this juncture, allow me to ask all our guests, all our invited guests, all our members of Parliament to please take your seats. Could I also ask that you occupy the free seats please occupy the free seats in front of you to allow for latecomers to sit at the back. To all our guests that are still in the reception area, all our guests in the reception tent, please make your way to the main tent. His Excellency, the President, is just about to arrive. I'm sure many of you can see all the indicators, all the signs now, especially that we have the first sweeper that has made its way onto the grounds here at Kololo ceremonial grounds. This is an indication that any minute now we shall witness the arrival of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda. Once His Excellency the President arrives, he shall proceed to walk through the street guard that is mounted by officers and men of the Uganda Police Force. His Excellency the President has got one main duty today, and that is the presentation of the budget for the year 2024-2025. This presentation is likely to be made by the Minister for Finance, the Honorable Matia Kasaija, who is already seated in the main tent and is already in possession of the famed briefcase. This briefcase contains the estimates, the approved figures for the financial year 2024-2025. Once again, to all our guests that are seated in the reception areas, if you're seated in the reception or refreshment tents, please make your way over to the main tents so that we can have an orderly start to this parliamentary session. This parliamentary session, this is the second parliamentary sitting that we have of this, what we call the first meeting, which is like the first term of a parliamentary year. Last week, we officially opened Parliament for the fourth session, which is the fourth year of Parliament, and we convened here at Kololo to receive an address from His Excellency the President on the state of the nation. And amongst the things that he mentioned was about the key priorities that he hopes to achieve or implement during the financial year 2024-2025. So our gathering today is now to actually put figures that will now facilitate the priorities that His Excellency had mentioned in his address last week. So once His Excellency comes through, we expect that he shall go through the street guard, be received by the receiving party, and then the Speaker's procession shall form, and we shall allow for His Excellency to sign the visitor's book before we can continue with the procession. Once Parliament forms, we are going to have the national anthem and the East African anthem. Today we shall have only one stanza of the Uganda anthem, one stanza of the East from the chair, and then the presentation of the budget speech by His Excellency the President. I'm sure you can all see now that there is every indication that His Excellency the President is joining us. His motorcade has just entered the grounds, the Kololo ceremonial grounds, that for purposes of today are the precincts of Parliament. So His Excellency is on the grounds of Parliament today. The team that is to receive him is on hand waiting, and shortly His Excellency shall be received by the police with a respect of a street guard. So once again, I kindly ask that you take up your seats. All our guests or members of parliament, please take up your seats. If you could kindly occupy the seats to the front so that we shall limit visible movement. His Excellency the President is just about to step out of his official limousine and walk through the street guard before he is received by the receiving party, comprising the Right Honourable Speaker, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, the Clerk to Parliament, and senior officials, as well as the service chiefs. The bugles that you heard are from the Uganda Police Force, and that is in recognition of the arrival of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, that is now making his way down through the street guard and coming to the edge of the red carpet, where he shall be received by the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament and her entourage. Team shall then return and form the procession of Parliament, the procession of the Speaker. Just a reminder that today we are going to witness the second sitting of the first meeting of the fourth session of this 11th Parliament of the Republic of Uganda. Today, Thursday, the 13th of June, 2024, of the 2024-2025 budget speech to Parliament by His Excellency in a role that he will delegate to the Minister for Finance. We invite the media to kindly step back now to allow for everybody to have a clear view three arms of government coming together once again of the presentation. Thank you very much.
Prayers. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society, government of humanity, we beseech you, look upon with your abundant favor. You have been pleased to call to the performance of such important trusts in this life. Let your blessing upon him grant that they may in presence treat all matters that shall come in just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you are committed to the charge.
Amen.
Amen.
Proclamation by the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament of Uganda. (2024) number 24, proclamation Parliament address on the nation on the 2024-25. Whereas under Article 1012 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda may, in consultation with the Speaker, address Parliament from time to time on a matter of national importance. Aware that His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda, in accordance with the Article 1012, indicated to the Speaker of Parliament his intention to address Parliament and the nation on the national budget for financial year 2024-2025. Now, therefore, in accordance with the Rule 17.1 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament, hereby proclaim: 1. That Parliament shall sit at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds on Thursday, 13th June 2024 at 14 hours to receive the address of His Excellency the President on the national budget for financial year 2024-2025, and the Kololo Ceremonial Grounds to be the precincts of Parliament for the above-mentioned purpose. Given under my hand at Parliament House, Kampala, this 7th day of May 2024. Anita Annette Amon, Speaker of Parliament. Communication from the Chair.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, accompanied by the First Lady, Mama Janet Kataha Museveni, who also doubles to be the Minister of Education and Sports, Her Excellency, the Vice President, Major Retired Alupo Jessica Eper, His Lordship, the Honorable Chief Justice, Chigamoy Alphonse Owindolo, the Right Honorable Deputy Speaker of Parliament of Uganda, Right Honorable Thomas Tayebwa, the Deputy Chief Justice, His Lordship Richard Butera, the Right Honorable Prime Minister Robin Anabanja and her deputies, the Honorable Leader of Opposition in Parliament, Honorable Senyonyi Joel, the Cabinet Ministers and Ministers of State, the Vice Chairperson of NRM, Alhaji Chigongo, plus all the SEC members, Your Excellencies, the High Commissioners, Ambassadors and members of the Diplomatic Corps, Honorable Members of Parliament of Uganda and East African Legislative Assembly,
the Inspector General of Government, Ms. Betty Olive Kamia Namisango, the guest speakers from our countries, from Yala, the Head of Public Service and Secretary to Cabinet, the traditional, cultural and religious leaders that are present, the former leaders, the head of public agencies, corporations and parastatals, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to the second sitting of the fourth session of 11th Parliament. You're most welcome. As you may recall, last week on June 6, 2024, we had the honor of hosting His Excellency the President at the stage of the opening of the fourth session of the 11th Parliament. This significant event, His Excellency delivered a compelling address on the state of nation. Let us join our hands and clap for His Excellency for the address that he gave us on that day, and that was for the good of our country, Uganda. Today we are once again immensely privileged and highly gratified to host His Excellency the President, who is here to deliver the budget speech for the financial year 2024-2025 in fulfillment of his constitutional obligation under Article 1551 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, which states, "The President shall cause to be prepared and laid before Parliament in each financial year, but in any case not later than 15th day before the commencement of the financial year, the estimates and expenditure of government for the next financial year." Honorable members, today's budget speech is a culmination of a rigorous and comprehensive consultative process, which usually spans from a period of August to May in any given financial year. This process involves the various stakeholders and majorly guided by the 1995 Constitution of Uganda, the Public Finance Management Act 2015, the National Audit Act 2008, and the Local Government Act 1997. Your Excellency, the Parliament of Uganda has appropriately adopted its rules of procedure in Part 24 to preserve and foster participation and consultation during the entire budget process. This part of the rule of procedure comprises of 11 rules covering aspects such as the National Budget Framework Paper, the Ministerial Policy Statements, supplementary budgets, and appropriation. By so doing, Parliament is able to gather a wide range of perspectives, views, and opinions in shaping and informing the consideration of the national budget. In all this, legislature is guided by the principle that the national budget should reflect the shared values and priorities of our beloved nation and its people. Your Excellency, allow me briefly underscore some key milestones achieved by legislature during the budget consideration process. Pursuant to Section 9, 5 and 8 of the Public Finance Management Act and Rule 145 of the Rules of Procedure, the House approved the National Budget Framework Paper 2024-2025, 2028-2029 on 31st January 2023. Pursuant to Section 12 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015 and Rule 149 of the Rules of Procedure, Parliament approved the ministerial policy statements for the financial year 2024-2025 during the period of 4th to 12th April 2024. Pursuant to Section 8 of the Public Finance Management Act and Rule 150 of the Rules of Procedure, Parliament passed 5 tax and revenue bills on 16th to 16th May 2024 to enable the realization of revenues to finance the national budget for the financial year 2024-2025. In furtherance to Section 14 of the Public Finance Management Act 2015 and Rule 151-152 of the Rules of Procedure, Parliament approved the national budget for financial year 2024-2025 on 16th day of May 2024. And that's why we are here today. Your Excellency, we want to take this opportunity to commend the members for their dedication through the budget process in ensuring that we not only met the legal and constitutional timelines, but also adequately interrogated the budget together with the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, the Attorney General, and the entire front bench. We want to thank you so much. I specifically want to single out the Minister of State for Finance and Planning and Economic Development in charge of general duties, Honorable Museveni Henry, for devoting time and effort to the relevant committees and the House throughout the budget process. Henry, thank you so much. I also want to commend the Permanent Secretary and Secretary to Treasury for his technical support to the Minister and the continuous legal guidance from the Attorney General. I want to thank you so much. Without preempting the President's speech on the budget, I would like to highlight very salient issues that arose during the budget consideration process. One, the need for continuous resource allocation to agricultural mechanization, agro-industrialization, and value addition as a bedrock to wealth creation and a sustainable development. Two, the need to increase funding to the development of the tourist sector to optimally hasten Uganda's tourist potential. Three, the need to align resource allocation with the prevailing government policy on rationalization, that is RAPEX, which should translate into enhanced efficiency and elimination of duplication and wasteful expenditure. Four, the need for resource efficiency measures to address the risk of the debt burden. Five, the need to increase the public investment in productive growth areas and deepen financial inclusion. And the eight, the growth of taxable formal sector so as to widen our tax base and improve on the GDP ratio. 6, Your Excellency, considering your consistent advocacy for integration of East African community, Parliament is cognizant of the need for strengthening and cascading the East African integration so as to ease the movement of people, goods, and services. Your Excellency, we share your passion and commitment towards the realization of the total federation of the East African community. Parliament pledges absolute support towards the realization of your vision for a united and a viable East African community so as to widen, strengthen, tighten, and deepen the economic, political, social, and cultural integration. And this would help us in improving the production, the trade, and investment in East Africa. The need to enhance the human capital development as a way of leveraging the competitiveness of the Ugandan population. Your Excellency, this budget that we are receiving today is a product of complementary working relationship between the three arms of government: the executive, legislature, and judiciary. This has led to improved transparency in budgeting process. We pledge to continue this cooperation in the best interest of our beloved country. Your Excellency and honorable members, today's budget speech is therefore an opportunity to demonstrate our commitment to prioritize the needs of our people and make sure that we achieve the vision of His Excellency on prosperity of a money economy, and that is through EMIOGA, the Parish Development Model, the 4-acre Prosperity Development Model, etc. Your Excellency and honorable members, as we embark on the financial year 2024-2025, I urge the accounting officers as entrusted stewards of public resources to exercise diligence and due of care in safeguarding and ensuring the efficiency and effective utilization of public resources. Your Excellency, previously we have urged accounting officers to share with the leadership of legislature any incidences of influence peddling. However, we haven't received any of such information. We urge the accounting officers to maintain open channels of communication and coordination with the leadership for transparency and accountability. Honorable members, in the discharge of our oversight and appropriation roles, let us avoid any inducement from these accounting officers. And this is prescribed in Appendix F of our Rules of Procedure, which talks about the conduct of members while on duty. Your Excellency, in the financial year 2024-2025, Parliament will duly exercise its oversight role of public expenditure through relevant committees in fulfillment of our commitment to transparency and accountability. Lastly, but not least, Your Excellency would like to thank you so much for according us an opportunity, especially for members who went and visited Gomba, Sembabule, and Kisosi on the 4-acre development model for prosperity. And this visit was an eye-opener for a practical transformation of the household economy. Your Excellency, your continuous inspiration and transformation approach to development and creating awareness to the populace that has led the people to follow your guidelines of transforming people from grass-thatched houses to the mabati. It is written in Lunyankole. I may not be able to mention how your book is written, but we know what is written in it, and we have really used it and tried to transform our communities. Your Excellency, I kindly request you to consider inviting the other members of parliament who have not been there to see what has been done there, so that they can come back and preach the same gospel to their constituents. As we go for recess, we will be very available, and we request that maybe you invite the members of parliament to go and visit that development for Ekamodo. I now want to, as I conclude, I want to wish all our Muslim brothers and sisters a happy Eid Adha 2024. May Allah fulfill all your wishes as you've been praying. I say all this for God and my country.
Presentation of the budget speech by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda.
Honorable members, I have been duly notified that the Minister of Planning and Economic Development will deliver the speech on behalf of His Excellency the President, who is the Chief Minister of Finance. The President will then, after delivery of the speech, make his brief remarks on the budget of this financial year. I now take this opportunity